Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Well, I want to really thank you all for listening. Thank you very much for all of you who have subscribed and who are going to subscribe. It makes a big difference for how YouTube promotes my videos. But Detroit basketball, our Pistons knock off Oklahoma City 120 to 104, and Oklahoma City has second best record in the league, best record in the West, best road record in the NBA, and our guys are playing on a back-to-back, and we play bad yesterday playing against a poor team, and we lose to the Wizards, and then we come back and we're 13-point underdogs and we beat them, and so it was awesome. And Duren dominated the game. He 22 points, 21 rebounds, and after the game, he was being interviewed in the press room, and Wiseman knocks on the window as he's walking by and yells, "He's a beast!" And I think it's very cool that Wiseman he hasn't even getting to play. He's had a very frustrating career, and a lot of things have gone wrong for him. And I know a lot of people think he can't play, but he still to be that much supportive of his teammate was pretty cool, I thought, and so. It was a great win for us. I think that Ivey, he played his butt off today. I mean, the play of the game was Bogey comes down the court in transition and shoots a three, and he misses it, and the ball kicks way back out, going out of bounds in the corner. Ivey races after it, full head first dives, knocks it back in bounds, and falls into the bench. Gets up off the chairs, the ball deflects off somebody on the court. He dives again. He's on the floor, tips it, passes it to Burks, and Burks hits a three. And he was making things happen all over the court. He was diving out everywhere, and getting balls and getting rebounds, and he was incredible. But anyway, it was a big win for us, and I think that hopefully it'll encourage and motivate our players, inspire them to go better. It was tough. Oklahoma City, they came out and they were really sharing the ball, and I have a lot of admiration for them. I think they have a great team. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 7-8 years that they have the best record in the NBA. It would not surprise me. But they were ahead 15-5, and they were just like toying with us. And I think they got real confident, and they were knocking down threes, and everything was going right for them, and they were just sharing the ball really well. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's one of the best players in the league by far. He was first team All NBA last year. He's in the MVP conversation this year. He played 29 minutes. He was 13 for 20, 1 for 1 on threes, 4 for 5 on free throws, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 31 points. He had 18 in the first half, but for whatever reason, I'm going to have to listen to the Oklahoma City podcast and to see why he did not play in the fourth quarter at all. And so, the game still was in the balance in the fourth quarter, especially with our Pistons who sometimes fall apart in the fourth quarter, but we didn't tonight. And we did a little bit. We made some turnovers in the fourth quarter. We had like 3 turnovers in a row. Knox made 2 of them, and then there was a play. I don't know if there's 7 or 8 minutes left, and Burks gets the ball and he's heading down the court, and Stu's open, kind of like in the lane. He throws this long pass, and Stu jumps up to get it, and it ends up being a turnover that turns into a layup. But not only that, but Stu, I think, lands on somebody's foot and sprained his ankle. So hopefully he's not out for too long. We have a couple of days off before we play Cleveland. But anyway, I know what a lot of my listeners are going to be saying, because they've already were saying it after we had this bad game against the Wizards. We're better off without Cade. So, he didn't play tonight, and we win against a great team. And, and we struggled yesterday. I still think, and people talked about his turnovers, which they were terrible yesterday. But again, I go back and say he played for over a month and a half where he was averaging less than 3 turnovers a game, which is remarkable for somebody with his usage rate. It's remarkable. All the best players in the league are, not all the best players, but the league leaders in turnovers are also many of the best players in the NBA. You can look it up. It just is a fact. But 7 is way too many that Cade had, but he's been keeping it. His average is down. He got it down to like 3.2, and he was averaging a lot of points on really high efficiency shooting. And I do think that he needs to not handle the ball all the time, and I think that he does try to force it sometimes. And I think that Ivey needs to run the point with Cade on the floor sometimes. And so I mean, there's some of those things I agree with you, and hopefully we can work it out. I wish I had more faith in Monty that he would figure it all out, but I know that a lot of you are going to say Cade should, we should trade him, but he is a talented player and he is about the right things and he is a tremendous leader and he needs to figure it out. He needs to figure out not to force it. He needs to give the ball up to Ivey, but that also can be orchestrated by a coach. I know that for a fact, and it is on a lot of teams. So we had 46 points in the second quarter, which, and our bench played really good. When they came in the second quarter, that's our high for the season. So, um, one thing, and I go Lions, man. Today's the day we can go to the Super Bowl, and I hope they win. And I am so pumped up to watch that game. But it was surprising to me. Duren's at the free throw line, and we want to win this game so bad in the fourth quarter, and they're chanting Jared Goff, Jared Goff, which I think's cool, but not when Duren's shooting a free throw. And we're trying to upset this team. They were 13-point favorites against us, and so I can't quite figure that one out. But anyway, it's okay. He made them, so that was the main thing, I guess. So a couple other things. After the game, Monty talked about how Sasser was being sassed because he went out there and did some things. He did turn it over and he got some shots blocked, but he played good, and I want him to play. He needs to play, and he's young and he's got some talent. But we have so many guards. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But we have all these guards, and it's impossible to play them all these minutes. The reason more people got minutes tonight was because Cade played 35. Why did Cade play 35 minutes? He came off an injury. He hadn't played in 3 weeks and 8 games, and so we played him 35 minutes in his first game back. That didn't make any sense to me at the time. And then tonight he warmed up. He warmed up right up until the national anthem. He was warming up still, and then they just decided to play it safe and not play him, which was smart. We don't play till Wednesday. We're not going anywhere, and so you need to let him make sure that knee's okay. And just there are just some things that happened that just make no sense to me. Like I said, he shouldn't have played 35 minutes, and he struggled. At the end of the second quarter, that's when he had a lot of his turnovers yesterday. And down the stretch in the fourth quarter, he didn't play as well. And I think his conditioning, obviously, you're gone for 3 weeks. You're not going to be in shape to play 35 NBA minutes in a close game. So, um, anyway, I just love that play that Ivey made, but Sarb made a bunch of good plays. The whole team hustled, and like again, the biggest thing, Duren just dominated, and it was so cool. He scored all those points, but he said the game's slowing down for him, and that's what happens. So you know, everybody's always so upset about this team, but nobody plays a team full of our guys are 22, 21, and 20. That's who our main guys are playing, and I mean, obviously Bogey and Burks, but other than that, we're playing a lot of young guys in a lot of games. Those guys have been either not very good or they've been hurt. So it just takes time. Steph Curry, I remember him. They asked several players. I was watching. I don't know what it was. It was on an NBA game, and they asked them, "When do you think that you were able to impact winning?" And all of them to a man said 4 to 5 years into the league before I impacted winning like I should have. And here these guys are 1 and 2 years into the league, and everybody expects that we should win, and we should have won. There's no excuse for having the season we've had. That's for sure. And you watch tonight and you can see why. And you watch even the first quarter of the Wizards game, and we had Bogey and Cade and Ivey and Duren and Stu out there, and they looked really great. And we just don't have enough good players, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I Bogey tonight. Here's the shocker: that things change from night to night in the NBA. Bogey has been just on fire. He scored over 30 points in the last 2 games. Tonight, when we win, he plays 32 minutes. He's 6 for 15, and he's 1 for 5 on threes. And he's just been lighting it up, man. He's been shooting 50% on threes. And the game that we win, he struggles, and he was 4 for 4 from the line, and 1 rebound only, and 2 assists and 17 points. So it wasn't one of his best games. He's been playing quite well for quite a long time now. Stu played only 25 minutes, but he hurt that ankle. There was, like I said, about 8 or 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He was 5 for 10, which is really good. He made some nice shots underneath. I was worried at first. It looked like Chet Holmgren was affecting a lot of shots, and he is a great shot blocker and one of the best in the league. And he's a long person that has great timing and goes after blocks. And even when there were times early, I thought that we missed shots right by the basket that he didn't block, but he affected them. We were afraid to have those shots blocked. So anyway, Stu had 11 points, only one rebound, which was surprising to me. He was -2. So that was hard when we won by so many. But Duren, 31 minutes. So those stats, most guys that get those stats don't play only 31 minutes. But he was 9 for 13, and I love his moves. He made a little pull-up jumper. He made these reverse pivot moves with his little soft left-handed jump hook. And he said the game's just slowing down for him. I know I already said that, but it is a true thing. I got to see it as a high school coach. I would have kids that never worked in the summer. I had a lot of kids that worked really hard in the off season and did workouts with me all year round. But some of the kids that even didn't do that, they improved like greatly between their junior and senior year because the game slowed down for them. It just happens with experience and just is a natural thing. But 9 of his 21 rebounds were offensive, which is just crazy. And he had a career high 6 assists. So you get 22 points, 21 rebounds, and you have your career high in assists. And I think he only had like 1 turnover. But again, plus minus can be weird sometimes, but he was only +1. Jaden Ivey. So this is where people are going to say, they won the game, and they did, and I'm thrilled that they win the game. But here's the things, Ivy gets to play 35 minutes. Yesterday, he was on fire in the first half, and they only played him 11 minutes in the first half. He only played 26 minutes for the game. Today, he plays 35. Of course, Cade was out, but he was struggling shooting at first. He was playing his butt off, and he scored 19 points, but he was 7 for 20, which isn't very good. He was 3 for 7. He missed his first 2 or 3 threes, and then he started making them. But he was even 2 for 5 on free throws. And again, that his shot is not right, and it's in his head. He was shooting 81% through the first 19 games, and he shot well from the free throw line, especially at the end of last year. But he had 8 rebounds and 6 assists and only 1 turnover. So our whole team, we only had 9 turnovers today, which again, that really makes a big difference. But he was +13, second highest plus minus on the team. But yeah, it just is weird. Like I said, Sasser, got to play 19 minutes today. He played 0 minutes yesterday. So there just doesn't seem to be rhyme or reason. But I'm going to tell you something. And again, you think I'm just an Ivy lover, and I am. But Monty, after the game, he's doing the post-game press conference, and he talks about AB, which is Alec Burks and Bogey, about their leadership and how great they've held this team together through things. And again, that was hard for the team. When you walk out on the court, you think Cade is starting, and now Cade's not starting. And then he starts talking about how Stu and JD have really stepped up and been great leaders. And he doesn't mention Ivy. The only time he can mention Ivy is when he doesn't mention him by name, but he'll say we threw a bad no look pass in the fourth quarter, and we're going to address that, or we shot a pull-up 3 in transition, and it was Ivy, but he doesn't mention any of those kind of plays for anybody else. And he talks about, if that's not leadership, what Jaden Ivey did today, if you watched the game and you watched him play his guts out today, and you think that that's not a leader out there, then I don't know what is, because he created, the announcers, everybody's going crazy about all the different plays he made to give us more possessions. He just does things. He tips balls and just dives on the floor and goes after offensive rebounds, and he just makes things happen. So anyway, I got that out of my system. So Killian Hayes, 13 minutes, 1 for 2, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 points. -9. I think he would. Well, Stu was -2, but he was the only other player I think that was minus during his minutes out on the court. And anyway, I know you guys all think I hate Killian, so I'm not even going to comment on anything. But Asar's out there, and he plays 19 minutes. He was +16 on his 19 minutes. 0 turnovers, 3 for 7. He just makes things happen. Again, I said this last episode, I think. We have Ivy and Asar, and they are 2 of the best athletes in the NBA. And they're just, I can't tell you. You just got to watch every time. And even sometimes they don't get the ball, but they almost get balls. But they do tip balls that go to a teammate, or they deflect a pass and then somebody else gets a steal, or they tip a rebound and someone else gets a rebound. But they make it happen by just challenging for things and just going after things, and just play him 30 minutes, Monty, please. and he was 3 for 3 from the line, which he's not always good from the line. He took a three, which I'm not fond of that, but he had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, like you said, 9 points. And I still want to see him play again. He plays so well. Instead, Kevin Knox came in. He played in 14 minutes, and Knox had 3 turnovers. He had two and 3 possessions right down the stretch, and he's playing him in the fourth quarter. So I don't get that, but um, anyway, Knox had 6 points. He was +4. Muscala, 10 minutes and 1 for 1 on threes, and he was in there battling 3 rebounds in only 10 minutes. He had 6 points. So that was good. He had a good outing. Again, the last previous outings, he was 1 for 8 combined on threes. And so it's nice that he knocked down that one tonight. It was at a big, every point's big when you're the Pistons. So Burks had played 26 minutes, 3 for 5, 2 for 3 on threes, 4 assists, and only 1 turnover, 12 points. Sasser, again, 19 minutes when he played 0 yesterday, and he was 5 for 9, 2 for 3 on threes, 4 assists, 12 points. He had some turnovers, and we got lucky. Again, this game is funny. I watch all these games. I watch every minute of every game, and so many times the ball does not bounce our way, and it just doesn't seem like we get our hands on a rebound, and all of a sudden it just falls off our hands, and somebody on their team's there to scoop it up and lay it in. Or today, though, we like turned it over, and we had a 24-second violation after we had like 4 turnovers in a row. Well, the 24-second violation was going to be our 4th one in a row. But then right at the end of the shot clock, they fouled us. And so we got bailed out of that one. Or we made a terrible pass, and they got it. It looked like they were going to get it, and all of a sudden it just got nicked away and came in. One of our guys got it, and then we scored. And so things did break our way today, but it was a fun game to watch, and it was exciting, and I'm thrilled our team won. Monty Morris was really good today. 14 minutes, he was 4 for 8. I was surprised. I didn't know that he looked to score that much. I thought he just was a little bit more like Killian, only a lot better shooter. That's what I thought he was, a guy that just played it safe, made the sure safe pass, because he gets lots of assists without any turnovers, but he was aggressive shooting today. He was 1 for 2 on threes, again 4 for 8, 2 assists, 0 turnovers, 9 points. Played a really good game, but we shot 50%, 42% on threes, which is good. We outscored them from the free throw line. We had 9 turnovers to their 10, so we had less turnovers. We out rebounded them, 53-44. So those are big stats. Monty says that's what they look at. If we have less rebound, more points, free throws, less turnovers, and more rebounds, then you have a good chance of winning the game. So we play Cleveland on Wednesday. Like I said, we had 2 days off, but it's fascinating. The NBA, if you follow it closely and you watch teams, there are just streaks. Teams just do things. It just doesn't always make sense. So Cleveland, I like their team, and I thought once they got Davion Mitchell that they were going to be tough with Darius Garland and Mobley and Jarrett Allen, that those 4 guys were like all-star level players, and they were all young in their primes, but they weren't too young, but they were all hitting their prime. And then Mobley and Garland got injured. They haven't been playing for like a month, and Cleveland's doing better. They won 9 of their last 10 games, and they're got to go to Cleveland and play them, and they just got a bunch of guys you won't even hardly know their names. And I mean, other than Mitchell, and he's been lighting it up, and Allen has been playing really great. And so, but they got a bunch of guys that can shoot the three, and that's one of the things you got to watch for Wednesday is how they shoot the three. But still, want to talk a little bit about what is going to happen with our guard rotation. What are we doing, and who are we got to find out about Monty Morris. He played good tonight. Are we going to trade him? Or are we going to re-sign him? I mentioned last time, Burks and Morris, they're going to be in demand. We can't just think like I said with Magruder or Kojo or Hamadou that we can just nobody else is going to try to sign them, and we can just get them at a cheap price. There's going to be some competition, and maybe they like it in Detroit, and maybe Monty Morris is from Flint, and so maybe they will want to stay. But there's going to be teams. Luckily, a lot of teams that are contending teams don't have a lot of extra money. So I think that we should be able to, even though they're unrestricted free agents, we should be able to match. But so Saturday, Cade played 35 minutes, Ivey played 26 minutes, Monty Morris 8 minutes, Burks 18 minutes, Killian 9 minutes. So that's just a lot of minutes. And sometimes we did play with 3 guards for a little bit. Asar could play guard, and Saturday Knox played guard a little bit technically. And then today, without Cade, so here's the problem. If you got 2 guard positions and Cade played 35 minutes and Ivey played 35 minutes tonight, when one player plays 35 minutes, that leaves only 13 minutes left at that position for somebody else to play. But tonight, Ivey played 35, Killian 13, Burks 26, Sasser 19, and Morris 14. But again, if Cade plays, and then you just can't play all those guys. And so you just have to prioritize, do we know we're keeping Killian? Again, everybody thinks I'm a Killian hater, but are we going to re-sign him? He's a restricted free agent. Are we going to match an offer? Do we want to bring him back? Here's the thing, when Troy signed Monty Morris and drafted Sasser, everybody knew that Killian was out of the rotation, that there was no chance. And then in training camp, Monty Williams fell in love with him and just praised him all through camp and started him. And so now it's like Monty can't, his ego is, I'm afraid, getting in the way, whether he wanted to play Ivy or Killian or not, but he, pumped him up so much and to his face and said how he's such a great player and a starter, then it's going to make it hard. But we'll see what happens. But you can't play. You can't play and get in a rhythm or have confidence when you're playing, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, and that's hard for Killian. Killian played 9 minutes only Saturday. How do you get in the groove when you're playing 9 minutes? And Morris played only 8 minutes. Of course, he's coming back from injury and stuff. So I'm just give you the update for Cam Whitmore. He's shooting 49% from the floor and 40% on threes, and he is playing in big time minutes down the stretch. Last night he helped lead a comeback. They got down by like 25 or 30, and he started lighting it up in the fourth quarter, and they got down to real close at the game. And at the end of the game, Amen Thompson, they put him in for defense, Asar's brother, and he gets a steal, and he gets a steal on the full court press, and he steps back to the corner for a corner 3, and he makes it. He's shooting 16% on threes, and he makes it, and it gets the game within like 2 or 3 points. They end up losing the game, but Whitmore made a bunch of big plays and a bunch of big shots. And so, yeah, that's him. But Alex Sarr, another guy I haven't been as high on. He's a freak athlete, but I watched some highlights of a game that he played just recently, and he shot like 75%, and he got like 5 blocks in like only 19 minutes or something. But he can block shots, and he's 7'1", and he is so agile and so good at defending. He can move his feet. He can switch out on people. He would be a perfect matchup for Chet and Wemby. He just hasn't proven that he can shoot. So I just can't take, why I love Asar and I want Asar to play 30 minutes a game, but why I want Cam Whitmore is because Cam Whitmore could shoot, and we just need shooters. And so that's my only thing about Alex Sarr. I talked about I still want Kobe Williams, and so his brother played today. Jalen, he didn't have as great a game as he usually does. I've seen him play a lot. I watched him play a lot, so he plays a lot, really good games, and he's like an all-star level player, his brother. But he's like 6'8", 6'9", and he's been shooting really well, and he's a great defender and a great athlete. And I talked about my guy Zachary Rishashar, and he's 6'10", and he's shooting 47% on threes. So there's some good guys in the draft that we have to look forward to. Lions are playing; they're 7-point underdogs, but everybody's optimistic, and it will be a big thrill. Again, there's so many breaks. A pass gets tipped, or a penalty gets called or not called, and a lot of things happen in the NFL that can make games go one way or the other. But this has been a lot of fun with the Lions, and I hope they pull it out today. But it was a great game, great win for the Pistons. Please subscribe and like, and go Pistons.